So, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Welcome to the next session by Positive Impact. We are bringing industrial leaders to provide us their insight and give us a guidance on what way we can follow to reach the practical positive steps that can be taken to combat this crisis. So COVID-19 has affected more or less every industry and everyone. The question is that yes, we have a crisis, but through any crisis, there are always the solutions. There are combat strategies. So that is the sort of the whole of the session will be today, that we will be talking about what strategies can be followed, what opportunities are there. So we will be looking at all of these aspects with Mr. Ismail today. So just to give you a little bit of introduction of Mr. Ismail. Mr. Ismail is known business leader, and he is president for EFP, Employer Federation of Pakistan. He's also CEO for Hub Park Salt Refinery. His other roles and contributions include advisor to Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, and he has done a lot of work towards promoting research and publications related to industry issues. So we will be talking to him today. Obviously, amidst of this COVID crisis, we all have stories to tell. We have lessons that we have learned, and we have lots of practical steps and best practices that we would like to share. Mr. Ismail will give us insight into positive actions employers can take to combat this crisis, and how perseverance, reinvention, innovations, and patience can play a key role for the businesses to change the shape of economic sustainability. So I'm going to start with Mr. Ismail. And first of all, Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Ismail, and welcome to the show. And I just want to know a little bit brief introduction about you. So tell us about your journey.
Well, my journey has been very exciting. Thank you very much for giving the Employers Federation of Pakistan a chance to talk to you. And journey has been very simple, very easy, but very exciting. I started my career in 1983 by starting a salt manufacturing plant in Karachi, which was then moved to Balochistan in 1990. And since 2004, I've been active in various chambers of commerce. I've been vice president twice of FPCCI, and then finally Majid Bhai handed me over the torch of the Employers Federation of Pakistan. It just happened last week. So now I'm wearing two hats. One is of the Employers Federation of Pakistan, and one is of Lasbela Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So things are very different at the moment, and due to the COVID crisis, I'm in, actually I don't like the word crisis at all. So yeah. I don't like to call it crisis. I like to call it COVID. COVID is a situation actually. And every business, whether large, medium size or small SME sector, everybody is impacted. And it depends on the, the size and weight of the impact depends on the kind of business you are in, on the type of business you are in, and the situation you are in. So if you look at the overall scenario, every single human being is impacted. Whether he's doing his own business, whether he's working. There's not only financial impact, there are psychological impacts. There are social impacts. So if you look at the psychological impacts, everybody has been impacted. And it will take a very, very long time coming out of this uh, pandemic situation, because maybe we can get some vaccine by next year, or maybe by the end of 2020. But the psychological impact is going to stay for a very, very long time. And we are very good at inventing new words, you know. So we invented the new normal. So
Yes.
the new normal is not very natural also. The new normal is new normal, but it's not natural. What is natural? We like to hug people, we like to shake
Yeah.
hands. It's natural human, you know, behavior. But with the new natural, it's not natural. I mean, the natural behavior is hugging, meeting people, shaking hands, and the new natural, unfortunately, says stay at a distance. So it's very difficult and a very different kind of new natural. Well, I'm sure you would be interested to know what is the ground reality in Pakistan, and what's happening in Pakistan. I would just like to give you a brief update on what's happening in Pakistan. From yesterday, the government has eased the lockdown a little bit,
Yeah.
by allowing the different markets and shops to do business, because there are two sides of COVID. One is the health side, which is, I would say, 80–90% of it, and the other side is the economic side of it, which is, for a country like Pakistan, it's a very, very difficult situation to, I mean, even the Prime Minister would have not taken this decision uh, very easily. It would have been a very, very difficult decision, because opening up of shops, we all know, we all understand that with the amount and level of literacy we have in our country, unfortunately,
Yeah.
it will not help in keeping the numbers low, or, you know, it will shoot up the numbers to certain extent. But the ground reality of the SME sector in Pakistan was so grave, and is so grave, that it's very difficult to contain them any further by not
Very true.
going and doing business, because this is the season, you know, the Ramzan season in Pakistan. There are many, many businesses which depends on the sales of Ramzan for the whole part of the year.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
there are many businesses in the SME sector which only do proper business in Ramzan,
Yeah.
and in 11 months is just um, uh, like Majid Bhai says, tukur tukur chalta rehta hai.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very different and a very difficult decision by the government, but they had to take it because we had.
Exactly. Yeah. So my question will be that in the current scenario, what are the key challenges that industry is facing? And what will be the key challenges you see there will be after COVID is over?
See, Hina, the key challenges, if you talk about the lockdown situation, it's, I mean, the challenge is same. For a company in US, I operate a office and a small facility in US. So the problem is same,
Yeah.
maintenance of SOPs, and in that part of the world, it's very difficult to attract people to come to work. They are afraid to come out of their houses. In Pakistan, there is no such thing as being afraid of coming out of their houses. I mean, we have to push back people whom we observe that they might be sneezing or coughing. We
Yes.
want to keep them restricted to their houses, and it's difficult. Believe me,
Hmm.
because um, it's very difficult to contain people to stay indoors and not come to their offices. So
Bilkul.
these challenges of the lockdown and the opening up of businesses, but the real challenge is post-COVID, and
Yes.
that is the quantum of business which will be lost because of this sudden close down and the
Yes.
work normal. Because if you look at a restaurant business,
Yeah.
the restaurant business in a country like Pakistan, it's partially to satisfy your appetite,
Yeah.
and a bigger part goes to entertainment. Because in Pakistan, when people go out with
Yeah.
friends and families to restaurants, the major chunk of the enjoyment is actually entertainment.
Yes. Very
Food
true.
is part of it. Food
Yes.
is part of it, but the major chunk is entertainment. Now after post-COVID, do you think we'll be entertained exactly the way we used to get
No.
entertainment 3 months back? No.
No. No.
So this will change. So this is an era where we will be entering. It will be the period where we'll need psychologists the most, and
Very true.
social. There will be such a big social turmoil in all segments of the society.
Hmm. Hmm.
Very rich or very poor, it will be across the board in all segments of the society.
True.
This is something which is, we will all have to wait and see. Nobody can predict. I'm
Obviously.
to predict what's going to happen, but this is something which I can feel, because as a human, we have certain bondings. You have certain
Yeah.
bondings with your children, you have certain bondings with your parents, and it's been 2 months I have not hugged my mother. I used to hug her.
Yes.
So
So,
this is the new normal, unfortunately.
Sir, while you are talking about very interesting aspect of it, which is ambiguity, right? So, what I can say is that at the moment we are facing a pandemic, which is called COVID, and later on we'll be facing another pandemic, which will be the fear of unknown. So, in this sort of a scenario, can you shed some light on what do you think the model of productivity will look like to afloat through this whole chaos?
It's very difficult to say. Well, but as I said, it depends on business to business. A restaurant business you won't be able to compare it to a manufacturing business.
Yeah,
When you come to manufacturing, you won't be able to compare manufacturing of a textile product, let's say jeans, versus manufacturing of motorcycles,
sure,
manufacturing of cars.
sure.
One thing is for sure, that reliance on AI, artificial intelligence, will grow tremendously,
Okay,
and the companies and the organizations which are the first go-getters and initial starters will and should get advantage out of it.
yeah,
Now, I don't know how much time we have, but one very interesting futuristic approach which Pakistan should take as a country. This was not included in your questions, but I would like to touch upon this,
sure,
because we have been, as Employees Federation of Pakistan, you must be aware that we are the apex body of the manufacturers of
sure.
Pakistan.
Yes, yes,
We do not represent any traders, but there's no bar in representing traders, but our focus, our area of specialization is manufacturers.
yeah,
So if we have been advocating with the government of Pakistan for the past 1.5 years, because as if you go to history, what Pakistan did was when in 1947 we got independence, we inherited 4% of the industries.
Okay.
90% of the industries went to the India.
Yeah.
And while inheriting 4% of the industries, our forefathers or elders, they, they really worked very, very hard. They were innovative. They were hardworking people, and they were involved into research and development. So they developed all the industries gradually were developed into Pakistan. We inherited, as I just mentioned, only 4% of the
Yeah.
industries. But we gradually we kept on adding upon industries, and in a matter of 25 years, we were able to have a very well-established PICIC, Pakistan Industrial and Commercial Investment Bank.
Yeah.
And then we had PIDC, and these two organizations, plus other few organizations, they were fully involved in R&D and research. And Pakistan was moving towards becoming a manufacturing hub for
Yeah.
the entire region.
Yeah.
And something happened, I don't know what. We immediately changed our course, and we went in to become a trading nation. And with a population of 230 million people or 220 million people, we cannot afford to become a trading nation. We just cannot, because Pakistan has a very large population,
Yeah.
which is fit for industrial work or agricultural work. We unfortunately do not possess a very large population of very skilled people who can go and have white collared positions.
Yeah.
We have a very, very large population which is good enough for working in industries and agriculture. But in spite of this great advantage we could have taken, we converted our country into a trading nation. And then when this government came of Prime Minister Imran Khan, the government of PTI, they, for the first time after many years, my ears started hearing that they want to go in for industrialization.
Yeah.
And they want to do away from the trading side, which was what we were
Supposed to do.
for the past many, many years.
Yes.
And we're happy to hear all this views of the government. And with that, what happened was that Pakistan for the first time started thinking on how to curb imports.
Yeah.
How to have NTPs and NTMs implemented on imports. So in one of our functions, we suggested to the Commerce Minister that please, we should make halal ingredients compulsory.
Yeah.
Import something, and we should make the writings on the packages in Urdu language compulsory. So these are all actions to cut down unnecessary imports. There are imports which are necessary imports, and there are imports when you import goods which are, you can live without those goods. So goods of so necessity. So Pakistan needs a total comeback on industrialization, which we call rapid industrialization on war footing. That is what Pakistan needs. And if you allow me 2 more minutes, I'll give you a story that in the Spanish flu in 102, 104 years back, do you know from where the Spanish flu started? It started from Italy, it went to Spain, from went to the US.
Yeah.
And in US, millions were killed, and no, I think 900,000 were killed. And 900,000 people were killed in 3-4 years' time. So the government of California, the mayor of California at that time, opened up the entire state of California for investments by anybody. Anybody wanted to do investment, he was most welcome in with open arms in the state of California. People were invited, they were given free land for industries. And they were given 10-year tax holidays. And what was the only condition? The only condition was that you will give employment to local people.
Yeah.
Now, this is something which created such an influx of capital and such an influx of entrepreneurs in the state of California that today, when you count the billionaires in the world, more than half the billionaires belong to California. It was
Yeah.
because of Spanish flu and because of the decision and the aggressive actions the government then took at that time. So I'm trying to convince my Prime Minister that let's follow that footstep and let's do something to attract people post-COVID. Because when I talk, I don't speak on behalf of the manufacturers. I want to guide my government also so that they can act in the right direction at the right time. We need to take a few steps. We need to invite investments into Pakistan. We need to give all what the government can give in terms of advantages to the investors. And we should open investments into the manufacturing sector, because manufacturing comes first, then comes
Definitely.
if you want to improve your exports, you want to add to the foreign exchange receipts, you need products to
You
sell.
need production. Yes.
So for products, we need industries, we have people, we have plenty of people. Post-COVID, I was reading a report that 12 to 18 million people in Pakistan alone will be jobless. So these things are coming up, So the
Yeah.
government needs to act proactively and they need to act aggressively, because this is not a time to sleep. This is a time to take very, very important policy decisions.
Yeah. Very true. So thank you very much. It was very insightful, and actually, you are very right. My views are also that Pakistan has to emerge as a brand, because being in UK, working with various brands and people around me, I do hear lots of stories about other nations as well. And one of the thing I always believe in is that the biggest capital is a human capital, and alhamdulillah, Pakistan have a lot of human capital. So
Alhamdulillah.
it's about considering that as a resource. It's about making the right use and utilization of that. So sir, my last question is that obviously we are coming out of this COVID slowly, and things will open up. Now obviously industries will be opening up as well. uh, Now, the one question is that I know that the best way forward will be swapping the way we work. That will be the way forward. The other question is that I would like to have your insight of how fluid we are to shape into a new normal.
Hmm. Okay. So for this, very simple, I'll explain you in a very exciting way. See, there are three models when you talk about coming back to normal. There are three models. One
Okay.
is V model.
Okay.
What happens in the V model? In the V model, the economy is here and it goes down like this, and then it bounces back and comes back in its place in a short span of time.
Yeah.
Then the second model is the U model. And in the U model, which I think Pakistan is going to face, because I was hearing this very exciting, it's called V, U and L model. So the U model is Pakistan, like all other countries, the economy is right now down. It's going down and it will stay down for some time before it starts coming up back again. So that is the U approach, or the U model. And then the third model is the L model. And in the L model, there will be many companies, there will be many countries for that matter, which were here, they will come down and they will stay down. So Pakistan, alhamdulillah, is nowhere near the L model. We should not be ambitious and expect a V model, but we should be very happy if we can have a U model for Pakistan, in which we are down, we will stay down for a period, and then we will inshallah come out of it again, because Pakistan economy is not of a size of the economy of China or US. So we have a very small piece to handle, and we will handle it inshallah, because Pakistani nation handled many such situations, and with good leadership we can inshallah come out of it, and as a team we will come out of it. But it will take some time, and I'm sure it will take its toll also along with it, because businesses will suffer, companies will suffer, families will suffer, lives will be lost.
Obviously.
So, but I am very optimistic. Inshallah, Pakistan will come back again. Pakistan will rise back again, and you will see growth. But if with all this, if our government can become proactive and take decisions at the right time, like if the governor of State Bank of Pakistan needs to drop the rate of interest today by 5%, and he drops only 2%, and then 2% after 10 days and 3% after 20 days, then that's bad decision. That's not the decision which Pakistan needs right now. The business community is expecting a lot from the government. We are not expecting any short-term measures, and I would not recommend government to take short-term measures. Short-term measures is something Pakistan does not want. You know, we need to take long-term measures. We need to take very difficult decisions and very important decisions. This can be a paradigm shift for Pakistan.
Sure, definitely. I totally agree.
I look at it in a very positive way, because whatever was going to happen has happened. Something else will happen. But we cannot just sit and cry that we have lost everything. We have the opportunities. Mineral wealth. We have tremendous people, beautiful, hardworking people. We need to just make them all join together, and the government needs to support them, not with charity, with high-hanging fruits, you know. So the private sector comes up, they invest, and they get advantage, they make money, and people get employment. Very simple, no rocket.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Ismail. It was very insightful, and obviously there are lessons to learn from you. We can talk for, I think, for the whole of the day on this topic, because it's very interesting. Obviously, business resilience will be a key thing, and government support will be crucial to support businesses to survive and sustain. So I'm just unmuting everyone very quickly for any questions if they have. So hello everyone, if you have any questions, we only have few more minutes, so you can ask those questions. Asif, we can't hear you.
Hello.
Ji Majid
Hello.
Saab. Ji
I
Majid
think,
Saab.
thank you, Hina. I think we had a very good this session. It should be a little longer session with more discussions because it's not a limited subject. It started off as a limited subject, but now I
Yeah.
think it will impact a lot in the years to come. You know,
Yes.
it is not a short-term what you call future. We have to look into the long term, and I think Ismail's work is cut out for him, you know, and he might have to now spend less time in his own company and more time with EFP like I used to do to really. But we have a good team. We have a good team. I agree that we have a good team. But you see, now we have to understand that more and more companies and even industries will try to what you know is now being called the new normal. You know, we come
Yeah.
up with those fancy names. You know, like
Hmm.
a most favored nation and you know things like that. I don't know who thinks about all those names. I agree with Ismail. But anyway, let's think about that as a new normal. I think the new normal uh, will do one very, in my opinion, one very major thing in the days to come. That IT will become now a very strong component in every enterprise, in every
Sure.
business, including small businesses, including offices, and this now there will be no going back. You know, now it is all in the front, and whoever does stays, I would say, cool about it, is going to lose the race. You know, so we have to understand the fact that now IT and IT related thinking, gig economy, freelancing, working from home,
Yes.
virtual meetings, visual meetings are now going to be a reality. And I think
Yeah.
this is going to uh, resolve a lot of issues because people who are on the move can be part of the discussion whenever needed. So, you know, our one of our directors, Mr. Asif Zubairi, is gung-ho and has been gung-ho about this thing for a long time, and ever since he became a director on our board, he has been promoting it and also in his other ventures. But my again question is that our planning, Hina, and in the days to come, we have the new projects that we are going to come up with must have a strong component of the what is you gonna call it the new normal, or you gonna call it the new thinking or the new way of doing business. But there is no now other choice, you know. So, and I think that you should work more closely with the Employees Federation of Pakistan, because we are right there on the spot, you know. Unlike the chambers and everything, they are part of us, you know. They are, it is not the domain. It is the domain of the, when it comes to what's going to happen is there will be a change in the industrial relations. There will be a shift in the big shift in the human resource sector. There will be more what you call focus on social dialogue, and all these things are the domain of Employees Federation of Pakistan, and we are right on top of it. So I think we should go ahead and think in those terms. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It should be very much industry-led, expert-led sort of way out, because they will know what is there on the front line. So thank you very much. Just a very last question from Irfan. Irfan is asking that how the businesses forums and government have been supporting in protecting the businesses. Are there any plans? So very crisp, short answer if you can give, any of you.
I think Asif Zubairi wants to say something.
Yes, Asif Bhai can also answer this question.
My only observation is that when we are talking about all this, let us not forget the impact of 3D printing on the future of work.
Yes.
and because that is going to define manufacturing going forward.
Yeah. Okay.
Very true. Very true.
All right.
Yes, that's what we have been saying. You now can't retreat, no U-turns anymore. In Pakistan, U-turns are banned from the industrial sector. It can happen in politics, but not in industry.
True. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. It was absolutely a very fruitful and a very interesting session. Thank you and have a good day and stay safe.